Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to BattleTech Heavy Metal, where the sharp-eyed among you may have already noticed we suddenly have a lot less money than we used to. I went ahead and hired the entire hiring hall and also purchased all of the missile launchers and parts that I thought we were going to make use of from the store. So it turns out we don't have a tremendous amount of cash left over, and I wanted to do that before taking on this final mission because I figured it might motivate us to accept a little bit more payment. I wanted to have an idea of our actual financial situation before figuring out our pay for this. So a high-tonnage pirate lance will shortly make planetfall at the behest of a group of petty nobles and commercial interests. Intel suggests this is a vanguard of a larger force, and they're scouting the region for a suitable landing site. So let's make that a difficult thing for them to do. Now, it is a four-skull, so obviously there will be some useful salvage here. But given our financial situation, I kind of think we want to lean real heavily on cash, like maybe all the way out to here. This makes it a little bit less important for us to go for headshots. Obviously, taking the head off a mech is still a very good way to kill it, but this gives us... this opens up our potential strategies a little bit. And the fact is, I think we really need the money right now. I have a vague idea of where we're going next, and it might be kind of a long trip. Yeah, I think we're going to take this all as money. We're doing just fine on salvage. Like I was saying before, we don't need to be in a huge hurry on that stuff. We have plenty of high-tier mechs to play with. So let's go ahead and take this as all pay and pay particular attention to opportunities to accomplish bonus objectives. It's going to be another urban one. We could probably just run the same lineup that we ran for the last couple, at the risk of it maybe getting a little stale. Here's the thing, you cannot say that they are not effective, and some of these pilots really need XP, like Catapult and Trampoline both still really need to be part of this thing. We could pull in, I guess, Steamfitter is really the only pilot who's even close to being ready to run a four-skull. I'm just going to leave it like it is. It's fine. We have a good thing going here. We have a good solid composition. Let's just not mess with it. It's possible that bringing in the Orion would have been a good idea. The Orion manages its heat a little bit better than some of the mechs we have in here right now. But it does still have the direct line of sight problem. Have to get close to people, which, you know, can be kind of awkward in the urban environment sometimes, and it doesn't have quite the number of jump jets that I would like to feel comfortable with that, if I remember the design correctly. I'm realizing now, I'm not 100% certain. I had like two ideas for it, and I don't remember which one I went with 100%, so whatever. We don't need to talk about this. I already made the decision. Let's just get in here and blow up some pirates. So I think after we do this, there's a pretty good chance that we're just going to fly directly to the other Liao headquarters to check out what's available in that store, and then once we've done that and finished off that planet, we'll probably break our Capellan alliance and start repairing our reputation, which unfortunately might end up being a kind of a tedious task. A significant portion of it might occur off camera, just flying around doing like 1 and 2 skull missions for people to get our rep back up. Enemies detected. Intel reports that the pirates sent a pretty serious lance of mechs. Alright, I'm not afraid of them. Maybe I should be, but I'm too stupid to feel fear.
I'm rolling.
I'll tell you, it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Affirmative.
I guess you don't really need to be running out ahead. In fact, maybe up here would be good, because we could probably still get a clean line of sight on enemies from the tops of buildings and stuff, which is a much safer thing to do if you are so far away that they can't target you with their weapons.
Acknowledged.
Right, what do we got? Some guy. Okay.
I read you, Commander. Moving out.
It is the case that it is still worth
On my way.
trying to preserve as many parts as possible of the mechs that we do want to take pieces of, because, of course, even though we're taking no priority salvage, the more of a thing is in the pool, the more likely we are to get that thing as one of our 3 random loot draws. But I'm not going to go super far out of my way.
Yikes! That hit hard.
It did hit fairly hard.
I hear you.
That's just a rifleman. I mean, what we just saw there is the worst he's going to do to us. Debating whether I want to use the resolve now or whether I want to save it for the Annihilator's turn. I'm going to just reserve down. Okay, there's also a Black Knight. Which has just destroyed a huge building. We are like a natural disaster. It's the presence of battle mechs.
Confirmed.
Like a particularly bad natural disaster. Well,
Lifting off.
we get 1 extra point of evasion from the jump. I think it was right to do it. Maybe. So it's not that hard to kill a Black Knight. They're not that heavily armored, but I think this guy's definitely a greater threat than the rifleman.
Enemy eliminated.
Good to go. Moving to position.
And are we going to use one of our valuable UAC 20 volleys this turn? Maybe I should have had other people fire at this guy first to get his evasion worn down a little bit. I think we will.
Firing everything I've got.
We accidentally blew his head off. Just total blind luck.
What can I do for you?
Well, that's a hell of a thing. They sure do have an awful lot of units moving on 3.
Got it.
Or moving on 1, rather.
I've got a sensor lock.
Because we still have something that hasn't acted yet.
Hey.
Which means we're looking at either some hidden turrets or like a full extra lance of stuff that we don't yet see.
Affirmative.
Maybe I should have just shot at the building and tried to level it to remove his cover. I mean, I'll give them this. They have stripped a lot of evasion, or a lot of armor off of that mech already.
You, Commander.
They are not taking it easy on us. I think I'm going to just sensor lock in place. I'm actually really surprised that Highlander can see us. I don't know if there's a lot of value to the Marauder running out in front of everybody. And really, he hit that even through the sensor lock, huh?
Okay, that was bad.
What? No.
Well, we could, oh yeah, this building does not have a lot of health. And one of his legs is already pretty busted up. I'm going to reserve down. Let's let the bigger mechs go first, and we'll see what's left. The Highlander is packing... Okay, it's not really that well armed, honestly. It's probably more important we kill the Victor.
Affirmative, Commander.
We're going to go for his face, and if this doesn't work, then we can consider the building plan.
Here we go.
You know, that did actually a lot of good damage. We probably don't need to worry about the building.
Got hostile contacts inbound.
Okay, the extra lance is maybe all vehicles.
My old mama can hit harder than...
Commander?
That would be fine. I don't think that poses a huge threat to us.
Coordinates received.
I'm going to go ahead and use some resolve here. Oh, and also coolant vent. So I think we do want to commit another UAC 20 shot, and maybe we just core him. He's low enough now that this is a reasonable way to do this.
All weapons are go.
Did not get the job done, actually. We did at least remove his AC-20. It'll be easy enough for the catapult to wrap up.
Here.
Do I have direct fire on him? I do. Yeah, get him.
Copy that. Firing out.
Turns out the laser was all we needed. But if we didn't fire everything, how would we accidentally shatter this building? Do I want to move? I probably want to move down the ramp toward the vehicles a little bit. I want to potentially have the ability to fire my laser at them. Yeah, honestly, I don't think that guy's all that scary.
Hell yes. It's on now. I hear ya.
Here's a problem. The targeting indicators don't work on the buildings.
Time to fly.
I can't tell when I'll be able to hit a building.
You betcha.
Do that. I'm hoping that's going to remove his evasion charges. Having knocked him down like that. Did it work? No, it totally doesn't. Well, it obviously should.
Hey.
It did create some stability damage, which I guess is fine. And we probably ought to take advantage of it here. I was really being... Okay, there we go. I was really hoping I was going to be able to push him past the threshold. I guess it just means he acts earlier in the turn than he usually does.
Real good here. Yep.
Well, I mean... Those legs are definitely very weakened. We could try to leg him instead of rolling for the headshot. Obviously, the downside of the headshot is that there's a significant chance a lot of this damage will just be wasted if we don't get the right headshot.
I'm on him.
But I have a lot of faith in our units, obviously.
Target down.
They've had a lot of practice at this particular strategy. They know what they're doing.
Waiting for orders.
Alright, here's hoping I'm not going to end up paying the price for this.
Hostile on sensors.
I'm going to turn out all of these vehicles have AC-20s on them.
Mech
So
order.
that's just...
Show 'em what you got.
That one's just a 60, is that what I saw? Yeah,
Aiming at
okay.
you, Commander.
But not exactly terrifying. I move to here... Okay, I do have sensor range on one of them. Oh, no, sorry, I have to actually commit the move first.
Coordinates received.
What is your deal?
Sensors locked on.
Okay, that's a problem.
What? No.
We care about SRM carriers a great deal.
Moving to position.
I don't think we want to bother with an aim shot, given how they have behaved. Yeah, we don't have to hit with that many missiles to make this work either.
Frag the vehicles.
I think that's one of the best uses of sensor lock we have ever had.
Confirm.
Sadly, we are nowhere near close enough to perform a stomp. I'm a little leery of running up to a position where that thing could roll around and shoot at me if it is indeed a demolisher.
Orders.
So maybe what we want to do here is move this guy
Got it.
and turn off that. I do kind of want to aim. We want to do our best to direct the shots to the same place, even if it's not the one I choose. If this just forces most of the shots away to one of the sides, that's totally fine.
Engaging target. Frag the vehicle.
It works often enough now that I'm thinking the times when it seems to direct the shots away from the target toward a vehicle are probably just bad luck.
Right, Commander.
Okay, that's a PPC carrier, which is not that big of a deal. I think I'm going to turn this off. So if both of the large lasers end up in the same position, we're in pretty good shape, and if they don't, then the catapult can probably pick this thing up pretty easily. Oh yeah, the catapult's got him for sure.
What can I do for you?
Assuming we can't get anywhere near a firing solution.
Taking the high road.
Well, we can just sensor lock whatever this thing is in the hopes of worsening its accuracy enough. Oh, it's just a PBC carrier. Okay.
Here.
They're no demolisher.
Okay, let's go.
It does feel like a little bit of a waste to throw everything in here. But if I don't kill it now, it will potentially get a turn, so... Let's turn off the 20s.
Okay.
I don't think we actually did get the single missile to the right armor that we needed there. We did enough damage to the front armor to just burrow through. Ooh, wow. Got armor pierces on 2 locations, one of which has ammunition in it.
Yep.
Fortunately, we now have the easiest kill in the history of time.
On my way.
Crabs do a pretty strong melee hit to vehicles. Imagine the forces involved there. Also, disappointingly, no bonus objectives. And I'm a little bummed out about the... Oh no, okay, that was a bonus objective. I thought it had the required cross next to it. I'm a little disappointed to see the SRM carrier, because that means there's going to be a huge amount of garbage in the pool. Okay, we didn't actually get any of it. But, you know, there were a ton of SRMs in the loot pool, which would have made it very unlikely for us to get any of the mech pieces that we might potentially have wanted. That went alright, and it went smoothly and quickly. Not so good on the loot front, but it is pretty good on the not having anybody die and also not wasting very much of our actual real-world human time front. It's hard to be upset about those things. So we're at 3 million. We're about to have to drop about 1 million on pay, which is fine. That does mean that we might be in kind of a crummy situation as far as being able to actually buy things from the next shop. So here's what this path looks like. If we want to fly out to here, it's going to route us through several systems that we've not been to before, which is obviously good for our score. It's a nice high-value world. It has a faction store and a black market, but unfortunately it's very hard to imagine that we will have the money necessary to actually benefit from those. But I think we want to see their faction store, we want to see the other store, and then we can consider whether it makes any sense for us to continue the alliance with them. My suspicion is, once we've shopped at both their stores, we're probably going to want to just break this and get to putting our rep in a place that's actually a little bit more, a little bit better scoring. So, I think we've done everything we needed to do. I bought all the things from the store. Before we leave, we should probably make sure that we have the mech bay doing all the things we needed to do, like repairing some mechs, and also probably setting up some new designs. I'm not really sure what we want to do on that front, though. This is the part where we figure that out. It's like, we probably want the Stalker, right? We probably want to maintain a couple of lower weight mechs so we have things to jump down to, so let's cut something. Let's see here. 2 large lasers and effectively an LRM 15. I mean, if we're gonna do a mid-sized missile boat, this trebuchet I think fits the role better than the Griffin does. Let's strip this guy and put him in storage. And then I think the way we do this is... yeah, we ready you.
Sure thing. We'll see that it's prepped and ready.
And then, is there anything else from the storage pool that we want to actually pull up? I wish there was a way to set this to only show completed mechs. So the Catapult K2 is a long-range laser and autocannon mech. I feel like we have that role covered already. We probably don't need any of this like lower mid-weight stuff. So really, I guess the question is just, are we going to try to get the Cyclops ready? It has 7 missile bays, which is definitely interesting. Yeah, that's like very interesting. Let's go ahead and find a spot for it. Let's see if we can easily find a spot for it. So we have a lot of 60s and 70s. I'm trying to think, is there anything in that range that I really don't think is very impressive of a build? I guess this guy who's just an AC-10 and an AC-5 together, that's not really a great mech. I want to leave the lighter stuff alone, I think. So yeah, we'll drop you into storage. And we'll pull forth the Cyclops. One big eye. Big one eye. Okay. So that'll get us 7 days, and then we'll want to actually lay in designs for the Cyclops and Stalker after we get all that stuff cleared. Alright, let's start flying. It is a shame that we are unlikely to be able to buy the things we want to buy at Principia, but who knows? Maybe maybe there will be a lot of really good work to do.
Calculating course now, Commander.
This gets us a few new systems, and if we were to break the alliance with these guys, I guess it is probably the case that we need to figure out what our path is post-Principia. We don't want to break the alliance with them probably until we're about to leave their space, because obviously there's a lot of benefit to having access to the higher skull missions while we're in Capellan space. And it's not that those things are not enabled by the alliance itself, but rather by our high reputation, which is going to take a significant hit when we break the alliance.
That work order you submitted is complete.
Alright, let us figure out what kind of designs we want to use on these things. So the Stalker's interesting. I'm kind of thinking we want to refit the Cyclops, because this is a thing we don't really have one of yet. It's like a thing that has a ton of missile bays. So let's see what we can do with it. First of all, in its current armor configuration, it has 1,360 armor. Which means that this 24 tons remaining is kind of a lie, because we could strip this thing down considerably, right? But it has 4 jump jet slots. Like, it's actually a very tough mech. So, like, we could jam all 4 of these boosted Infernos in here and have it just rain down heat volleys. But we could also go really deep on the SRMs, right? Like, what does that look like? These are 3 tons each? So what if we do something like this? Let's not go to 7 maybe, because that's going to leave us with no weight at all. That is a 72 heat alpha strike, but it does 432 damage with 180 stability. To be perfectly honest with you, I kind of love that. I think that's very funny. And then we put like some jump jets in there. Probably you want an injury resistance cockpit, because that thing's likely to be up in the enemy's face. We don't have any more hit chance down gyros, unfortunately. But like, we could mount a stability damage. It doesn't really matter. It's free, so we should put it in, but it doesn't matter a tremendous amount. And then, like, do I even have... Oh, I don't have assault jump jets on the ship. What does this do? This is accuracy, right? We probably don't need an accuracy increase. Each one of these is firing for 12 heat. The odds that we'll actually be able to fire all 5 of these, or all 6 of these, are basically 0, right? We could pull one of them. That buys us a little bit more room to jam heat sinks in. Try to get this thing to a place where it is reasonably heat efficient. So we're plus 21 on heat generation right now. That's not too bad. And then 3 tons left. Like, we could maybe remove some of those and put an LRM. Oh, we have to put ammo in it. Right, I forgot about the weight of ammunition. We could probably remove some armor, too. Like, we don't have to run this much armor. So we're firing 30 missiles on a volley. Which means I would like to run like 3 ammo bins, say. I mean, that's a design right there. But I was kind of thinking it would be nice to put 1 LRM pod on it as well, for a little bit of versatility. And then the heat issues are not as severe as they'll look, because there probably are not a lot of turns where we fire the LRMs and the SRMs, is what I was thinking. So, like, let's say we went with the +2 damage LRM 10. We'd have to clear 5 tons for that, so that's probably like a little bit of armor and some of the heat sinks. Because that's 60 damage worth of LRMs. A 20 pod at twice the weight is only 20 more damage, actually. And that'll give him like use as like a person who can clean up vehicles at a distance. And I always talk about how I think it's bad that the AI doesn't focus their builds enough. And then we're going to do this thing. How many slots is it? It is 2 slots, so we can just jam it in here. We should probably put it in the same side that its ammo is in, though. I guess the other option we have, the other thing we could do, is put all of the ammo in the same side. And that way we could just try to keep that side away from the enemies, but obviously the downside there is that if we heat sinked here and put all the ammo in this side, then an unfortunate ambush could disable the mech completely. This way we're left with either 3 SRM-6s or the LRM-10 if we lose a side. That's not so bad, right? And then we'd have to dump either a couple more heat sinks, or we probably don't want to drop 3 tons of armor. What is the tonnage on an SRM-4? Is it 2? It is 2. So I was just thinking we could maybe try to sneak the SRM-4 in there, but that's not happening. So maybe we drop a heatsink and also quite a bit of armor from, like, the arms? Because the arms are empty anyway, the way we've designed it. That's 1 ton, and then we could strip a little bit off the center torso. Like, I know the center torso it's critical that it survive, but also it has an awful lot of armor on it. What's the DFA on this thing? 230. So when you do a death from above attack, your mech takes the DFA damage split evenly to both of the legs. So on a jump attack, each of the legs will take 115, which means we could safely strip a little bit of armor off of these legs without too negatively affecting that ability. And that's, you know, it's something different. It's different than the close range mechs we're currently using. We did not make it all that heat efficient. Remember, this alpha strike number here that we're seeing is a little bit wrong, because there's very few turns where we would fire the LRMs and the SRMs. We could potentially drop 1 more SRM pod to mount 3 additional heat sinks, which is like that's a big deal. That's a lot of extra heat sink. So this is only 10. So we actually generate 60 heat on an alpha strike, which is 24 heat more than our base sinking capabilities right now. So if we were to drop another SRM pod, it would go down to 48, and we'd be sinking 45 heat. So actually, that's quite efficient then, isn't it? Or maybe if we even if we did this, take the 6 down to a 4, and then put in 1 more heatsink. Now you're looking at 56 heat on an SRM alpha strike with 39. So that's only it's only plus 17. And mechs can sustain I believe the base overheat value is like 60 or 70 heat. I don't think it actually tells you that anywhere. But I think it's 100 heat for a shutdown, 70 heat for the overheat to where your mech starts taking damage. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if this is like a great design, but I think it's doing something we're not doing with the other mechs. The fact that it doesn't have any jump jets is a shame, but on assault mechs, jump jets are at a real premium. Each one jump jet is 2 heat or 2 tons. I'm gonna build it like this. It's a bit of a goofy design, but at this point, we are primarily just looking for things that do something that our current mechs don't do. So the Cyclops will be done in 7 days. We still have 18 days of travel left. That gives us time to lay in a Stalker design. And this thing is probably intended to be at long range. It has 1,080 armor, and on a mech of this size, that's not very much. So we could just play it back at long range. We could give it a couple of... It has room for a couple of LRM 20 pods. It's a shame we didn't have access to a larger number of LRM 20 pluses. So 15s are 7 tons each, rather than 7.5. Which means we could run 4 15s to get 60 missiles at 28 tons, instead of running 3 20s to get the same number of missiles at 30 tons. There's a little bit of a heat difference. It'll be overall 56 heat instead of 54. But that's fine. Is that right? Hold on, I didn't do that math right. No, that's right. Yeah, 3 LRM 20s would be 54. And that leaves enough space for some other stuff. So, let's see what that looks like. We only have 1 advanced LRM 15. We can take advantage of the fact that the tonnage per missile breaks down a little bit differently. How many... I think LRM 15s are 120 per ammo box. So we would need 5 ammo boxes to give us 10 solid volleys. That's a lot of missiles, man. And it's a lot of stability damage. But actually, if we're going to do this, hold on. Does it make sense to put an LRM-10 in instead of one of those? It's like, instead of one of the normal LRM-15s, this is the same amount of damage in a lower tonnage with less heat output. Gosh, I wish we had more LRMs with bonus stats on them. That gives us 13 tons remaining. We have a little bit more than 10 volleys worth of ammo, and we haven't used any of our other hardpoints. But I think the Narc Beacon itself is a missile launcher. So actually, we should probably have put this. Well, it does weigh 3 tons. You know what? Honestly, the Narc Beacon might be best in a mech that doesn't have a lot of missile slots, as something that we fire before we shoot the missile mechs at people. Because plus 50% damage from missiles is pretty wild. That's a big difference. But I don't actually know how to ensure that it would go first if we put it on one of the missile mechs. Right? Like, if we were to load it in here, it's entirely possible that it would fire after our other weapons. Because weapons totally just fire in the order that they're listed in the little window at the bottom right during combat. So yeah, I kind of want to have this on a different mech. A mech that has like 1 or 2 missile slots that can just serve up the beacon targeting for other people. So, as we stand right now, we're not great on heat. If we were to include a single large laser or PPC type weapon, $7 tons, and then we could put in 6 heat sinks. We don't need to worry too much about the jump jets because it's a very indirect fire kind of mech. I kind of don't like a PPC here. We probably don't need additional stability damage, honestly. Right now it's 140. To be perfectly honest with you, though, I'm kind of disappointed with the total damage output here. Alright, what if we do trade out some of these 15s for 20s? I was really worried about having enough space, having enough tonnage available, but maybe we're better off just taking the full damage that is available to us, because I am a little unimpressed with what we're seeing so far. If we do it like this instead, now we're firing 65 missiles per volley, which is a little bit less than 10 volleys at the amount of ammo we have in now. The damage is definitely better. The total stability damage output is... How much are we going to be able to increase it by if we replace... So the LRM-15 with +2 stability damage per missile is doing 60 stability by itself, which is more than the 20s. So if we were going to try to make a difference, the only place we would really want to do it is taking out this 10 for a 20, which is a gain of 5 tons for only 20 additional damage. I don't think that's a good idea. To be perfectly honest, it may well be the case that the only sensible thing to do now is put in, like, this, and then 4 heat sinks. A +18 Alpha Strike, but obviously you don't have to fire everything. Honestly, I don't feel too uncomfortable with that. A little bit of plus accuracy is nice when you're using indirect fire weaponry, because you do suffer an indirect fire penalty. And then... yeah, this is okay. This is unexciting and very, like, normal. This is a very normal way to build a mech like this. But I think it's okay. We could potentially strip out some of the armor if we're intending to play this at super long range, and in fact we don't really have a realistic way for it to get to super short range. We could scrape a ton of armor off for another heatsink, which would take us down to +15 heat on the Alpha Strike. This is fine. This is fine. You cannot guarantee that your long-range mechs will not get shot at. We've seen that plenty of times.
Right.
And I think that should cover most of our travel. Yeah, we are doing something productive for most of our travel time. I'm fine with that. Most is good enough. This is not the right button. What I wanted to hit was Argo. And when we get to the hiring hall at the new planet, we'll probably want to make sure that we can hire everybody else. There'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 days left before the next pay period. So we can probably afford to go, like, very close to zero on shopping. And I think we probably don't want to put in any more Argo upgrades either. But yeah, we could probably go pretty close to zero on shopping and then just go to another world and make some money there. In the daily briefing, Sumeri brings up an open hail from a nearby ship. They say their crew has contracted a virulent case of the periphery pox, but local government is preventing them from landing to receive medical care. Obviously, we give them some medical supplies. 30,000 C-bills is not even a real amount of money. Okay, +1 reputation, +1 morale, -1 medical point for 14 days, which doesn't change anything at all. Everybody's going to be in fine shape by the time we land. So we did not have enough money left over to buy any of the really cool weapons we were looking at the last store. I bought a bunch of the, obviously, you saw, I bought a bunch of those triple plus SRMs and stuff, but like we couldn't buy the extended range PPC with 70 damage on it that only weighed 6 tons, which is a real shame, because that seems like a great weapon. But it was 3.6 million C-bills. And it was just a little unrealistic for us to get at the moment. We would have had to cut things really close and not buy any of the other stuff we were looking at in order to make that work. And we're at 45 morale. To be perfectly honest, we could pay really poorly for a month just to try to make sure we'll be able to make pay without hurting things, I think. I'm a little worried about going all the way down to 41, because 41 is the threshold for the highest tier. So if we got a single bad morale event, it could drop us out. But I'll take this. Just tighten our belt a little bit to make the numbers work.
Wrapped up that job you asked for, Commander.
Alright, let's see what Principia has for us. There's both a faction store and a black market here. Plus, you know, just a normal rich system store. So I'm assuming we're going to see some stuff that's pretty exciting. Cataphract parts, dragon parts. A lot of the same mech parts, actually. That's a cool large laser, LB20X Plus. That's also cool. Ooh, look at that. We had one of those before. I find it very difficult to justify the use of AC2s. They just weigh too much for the tiny, tiny amount of damage they do. This obviously is better. I think still not actually good enough to buy it, though. Alright, what about the faction store here? What do you have? Very similar mechs. So I'm assuming the reason that we're seeing the same mech parts in both stores is because these are the mechs that are canonically produced by the Capellans or something. Might be a plot thing that I'm missing out on. Is this going to be exactly the same store? It is, in fact, exactly the same store. I didn't buy any of these heat banks because I was a little worried about running out of money. We might go ahead and buy some by the time we're done here. It'll really depend on how these missions work out. And then the pirate shop has some interesting stuff. We don't need the Hatchet Man. How do pirates get a hold of all these King Crab parts anyway? Plus flamers, probably worth buying. This might be worth buying. Wow, why is that 4.7 million C-bills? Aren't snub PPCs, like, way cheaper than that usually? This store doesn't have one, the other one did. But I could have sworn the snub PPC pluses that we were looking at in the last store were, like, well under 1 million, like under 500,000 even. And I know there's a price differential because the pirates don't like us that much, but it can't be that big of a differential. Also, I guess we had to have a look at the hiring hall here. Okay, just a bunch of total garbage dudes. Here's the thing. The training modules give 50 XP per day until you reach 30,000. That turns out to be 600 days, right? If I can do math. Yeah. Yes, 600 days. So, actually, anybody we buy, no matter how low their experience level is, in the next 145 days, is going to hit the 30k XP cap on this thing, even if we never give them experience from any other source, even if they came to us at 0. So, it doesn't really matter how underdeveloped the pilots that we hire are. We should just kind of hire everybody until we hit the bunk cap. Okay. Let's go do some contracts. Now that we've assessed the situation a little bit, let's see how much money is available to us on the table. I gotta be honest with you, I'm a little disappointed with our purchasing options here, so it won't be totally heartbreaking if we can't make much money. But it looks like we can make some okay money. I'm a little baffled by the 442k available here on this smash and grab job. So a pirate defector has given us an extremely interesting and time-sensitive piece of information, and we need a fast response. Before joining our side, this defector worked at a pirate facility on this planet. She claims she was responsible for extracting data from a device that sounds, from her descriptions, very much like a Star League-era memory core. We don't know what data is on it, but the pirates cannot be allowed to keep it. So on this, we would probably just go full salvage, huh? It's really not a lot of money. I think we could do that. That sounds alright. Pirates are not going to have anything nice to say about me at all after all this. So we're in a polar biome. This is a very difficult mission, so we probably want to take it pretty seriously. Sorry, I want the stalker over the catapult. It's just flat better at that job. And we probably want to go ahead and play the good pilots here. We don't want to mess around too much. I think I want to keep the hoplite in, even with its relatively poor damage output, just for the headshot. And maybe we want to run the Warhammer instead, or maybe even the Warhammer instead of the Stalker. We don't really have any idea how flat the terrain is going to be. But like, what does our absolute maximum tryhard lance actually look like at this point? We have quite a few options. It's definitely not a good time for the Dragonfly, because it's not going to be able to overheat people as well in the cold. I kind of want to use the Warhammer. The main problem with the Warhammer is that it overheats a lot. And this is like a prime opportunity. It also has relatively little armor. Like even one of our long-range mechs here has considerably more armor than that. I wonder if the Warhammer is maybe just a little bit too lightly armored for these 5 skull missions. I guess let's try it like this. And now that we have people unwounded and everything, do we want to swap up the pilots a little bit? I mean, I definitely see some value in using Sourdough. Maybe we replace Trampoline with Sourdough straight up. Well, because we're not getting a lot of value out of the multi-target, is what I'm thinking. We'd be better off having the multi-target on the Stalker. Yeah, I think I like that. Okay, let's run him. We're very close to capping out Cruz's skills, too. I mean, I say very close. 2 skill points. Unfortunately, those 2 skill points are, between the 2 of them, very, very expensive. So it might yet be a while. 8,100 XP each, I believe. I should figure out what 30k XP looks like in terms of skill point allocations. Because I need to know if I let these pilots develop naturally. First of all, are they at all going to get to a place where they can have all 3 of their skill points and a reasonable number of the important things like called shot mastery? And if they are, how long is that going to take? When are they going to have access to that stuff? It's a little bit of math I could do off camera. Alright, that's the facility our employers described. If it's not just a fairy tale, the memory core will be in there. Move up so we can see what kind of firepower we're up against. Once we've secured the memory core, the Leopard will extract us at this LZ. Seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, let's do this.
I'm there.
Got it. Location confirmed.
Oh man, we have ice and
I'm reading,
everything.
Commander. Moving out.
I actually really like the look of these mechs that don't have like proper arms. I think these guys are really cool. Also, we probably should have made sure that we were using the best possible paint job. You know, very important to play optimal giant robot dress up.
Uh-huh.
We don't actually want the hoplite way out in front,
Aye, aye.
but I guess until we
Contact.
see enemies, we can at least have a look around. So that's a Banshee 3S, kind of a weird amalgamation of weapons, and a Cyclops 10Q. The 10Q is the one that we built, right? I think it's the 10Z that has the fancy command module. Huh. Interesting that they don't appear on the
Orders.
initiative bar at all. That seems wrong. They definitely should, right? This is as far away as we can be.
On my way.
I'm going to go ahead and do the thing. We're going to try to take advantage of... Oh, when I swapped her over, I lost breaching shot. Then maybe I don't even want a precision strike, because now we'd have to hit both the shots for the kill. Nah, I'm still going to do it.
I hear ya.
kind of seems like they're just turned off, right? It's a little eerie.
Affirmative.
Okay, we dealt a point of pilot damage there. Maybe we can claim the mech by just killing the pilot.
Acknowledged, Commander.
Do I even want to do this? I don't want to accidentally kill the thing, right? I want to do stability damage. I want to knock the pilot out. I'm just gonna brace.
Waiting for orders. Got it. Max speed, no shooting.
Oh, hell yes. It's on.
Good to go.
They're just turned off. Yeah, like their turn happens and they just pass.
Yes, Commander.
This is really strange. This feels like some kind of very strange trap. I'm going to let the Annihilator try to take the head off of one of these things. We don't actually need the Cyclops. Which versions of the Banshee do we need? The 3E and the 3M. Okay, so I guess I have to move the Marauder or the Hoplite into a place where it can see the other mech first. No place that's in cover where I can see both of them. I guess it doesn't matter because they're not doing anything. We're not gonna have you fire. Okay, there are some enemy mechs that are moving.
Roger that, Commander.
So the Banshee 3S, this is not one of the designs that we need for class completion. So I guess it doesn't really matter who we hit first. You have less damage reduction. So 20% damage reduction... Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Because the 20% reduction on the AC-10 still gets it down below 60%, or 61. So... if I am actually thinking I'm just going to fire a single weapon to take advantage of Breaching Shot, then I guess I do want to take this guy down. He's a little bit more dangerous if he decides to ever turn on.
Let's see what you got.
I really had high hopes there.
I hear ya.
Alright, we're just going to do damage.
Moving to position. Commencing Alpha Strike. Yeah.
Pretty okay start.
Good to go.
And then I don't think we need to be in cover just yet. I think we can advance a little bit more aggressively.
Here we go.
It's go time.
Commander.
Okay, now all four of them are showing up on the things. This makes me think that maybe now we're going to see them actually attack us. See if we can get lucky. Wow, really, really not lucky. I'm having a hell of a time hitting anything I'm aiming for here.
Waiting on you, Commander.
I mean, we're probably just taking this thing apart, right? I may as well just keep up the pressure over here. Just short of actually getting him too unsteady. That's a real shame. Well... he's showing us his side, so we could just go for the leg. Try to get him down on the ground and work him from there.
Firing. Ha! You like that?
That's weird. His leg doesn't look all that destroyed. It was sort of an internal destruction. The superstructure is still there, but it's just like a bag of loose metal pieces on the inside.
I'm catching some serious shit here, Commander.
This was a weird mission.
What can I do for you?
I wonder if we had stayed back a little bit further, I wonder if the rest of the enemies might never have come
I read you,
online.
Commander. Moving out.
Alright, only a 62% chance to hit the other leg. We don't have to hit it very hard, though. We did manage to hit the head on that one. Okay, a stalker, which obviously we don't need anymore. So honestly, I'm starting to think that maybe we're not going to get a lot of value out of our 5 points of priority salvage. I mean, it's not like we don't get any use out of these designs.
Bye.
Maybe I'm over-fixated.
Copy that.
Okay, we should be able to clean up the leg on this thing pretty easily.
Go. It's go time.
That's a kill.
That pushed us up to Inspired. Smart line of fire there.
What can I do for you? Coordinates received.
So obviously, the thing we've been shooting at is definitely not the most dangerous of the remaining enemies. Maybe we want to let's start targeting somebody else with this thing. I don't think I want to do a precision strike. Yeah, I think we just want to put a lot of missiles at it. Come on, push past. Yeah, there we go. Alright, we should be able to get it. Nope, never mind. It gets a turn immediately. It's getting tough to land those
My
knockdowns.
internals are taking a beating. Confirmed.
How bad is that arm damage? We would lose the AC 5++. That's not
Waiting for orders.
that big of a deal.
Don't need to tell me twice.
Alright, we're probably doing an aim shot here. It really is a shame that they put us up against basically just mechs that we've already built. Nothing that we need, and a whole lot of stuff that we already have. I think I want to focus on the Stalker. It's taking enough center torso damage now that probably just go through the middle is the right plan.
Bang! You're dead.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'm thinking that maybe the best move we have here, or our best hope for getting what we're looking for here, is to have a great big reinforcement lance show up.
Orders. I'm there.
Obviously, this guy is slightly more important. Wow, threw the armor on both sides, huh? That's pretty bad. Boy. I mean, it's too late. Well, no, it's not too late. Because I could knock this guy down to 1 initiative right now. Does he have any weapons in his middle? Okay, he does. I think I'm just going to try to kill this one. Wow, almost none of that went to the side torso. A lot of arm and leg nonsense there.
Receiving you.
Alright, and then this gives us a little bit of time to try to deal with this guy. So he's clearly not standing in the trees, but he does still have all of the benefits of standing in the trees. We have enough resolve for a single aimed shot. And there's no way, no matter what we do, to push that guy down below our,
Position confirmed.
Yeah, this sucks. There's no way to push him down below the Annihilator, so he's going to get to shoot the Annihilator. So the only thing really that we can do is try to remove some of his weapon systems. We're not probably going to be able to core him between these two mechs. The legs are as big a problem. I think that's what we do. We go for the middle.
Roger that.
We just try to open up the armor and hope for a lucky ammo explosion. As much as that sucks, I think it is actually the only option.
Firing everything I've got.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, though. Yep, so it's going to back up, it's going to shoot the Annihilator, and... Okay. Lucky, no ammo explosion.
Total damage.
That could have been really bad. So you're going to jump back to here and kill that guy to prevent him from fishing for an ammo explosion. And we shouldn't need to do anything here. This is a very easy kill. It turns out, when you're fighting really big mechs, sometimes they're going to deal damage to you. We're not able to disable them
Moving out.
quite as easily. We're going to go real hard here with this action, so let's make sure we're ready.
Oh, hell yes. It's on now.
Alright, so we're going to let the Stalker go first. The Stalker can push him over, and then we can, get aim shots in with the Marauder for free. Hopefully will be enough to get that center torso open. He's in a position right now where he doesn't have vision of the Annihilator, but I don't think there's any way that we could possibly
Waiting for orders.
prevent him from reaching a position where he can shoot the Marauder. So I don't have my lasers available at this range. We should definitely move forward into laser range. Which unfortunately is going to involve stepping in the open. You know what? He's not going to shoot at the Marauder. That's not a realistic concern. So he's still got 20% damage reduction. He doesn't get the benefit of Bulwark while laying down, but he still gets the basic cover. So we would not kill him with a single hit to the head. We'd need one of the autocannons and then also another hit. But we don't kill him now, he gets to get back up. So basically what we'd be doing here is hoping to get a lucky crit. Unfortunately, I don't have a very good sense of what the odds are. Like, I don't know what the base crit chance is, so it's hard to look at this and go, well, here's the, X is the percentage chance that we kill him with a head aim, and Y is the percentage chance that we kill him with a torso aim. So I'm just going to go center, because probably all the weapons will actually go center. Come on, crit. Well, we crit the launcher.
That hit something good.
I guess he's very vulnerable now. The good news is... Oh, wow, we actually just almost got there through raw damage. Yep. Okay, a lot of his weapons missed at least because of the penalty from standing up.
Orders.
Which probably did save us there. I guess there's no sense in moving. I can't get any points of evasion or anything.
Firing.
Did I seriously not hit him center with a single thing I just shot?
Waiting on you, Commander.
That's pretty bad. Alright, here we're going to not use the UAC.
Time to die.
I was going to say, the odds of us not getting a center torso hit there with the LB-20X firing 6 projectiles is just, like, very unlikely. Okay. Everybody stand perfectly still for a couple of turns. Nothing else is going to happen in this mission until we move forward, so we may as well vent all of our heat. Okay. You are staying way back.
You betcha.
Order acknowledged.
It may well be the case, remember, that we are just
Order
done.
received.
Everything's fine.
Got it.
Sometimes the game likes to fake us out and pretend there's going to be more combat until we get into the target zone. So I'm going to have this thing go
Engaging
up the hill.
Moving out.
And like I'm saying, I kind of hope there is another lance, because otherwise we are not getting very good loot.
Commander.
That's the spot. Hold there. You're going to jump up into cover. You're probably fine where you are.
Got it.
And you probably want to be up there with him.
The asset is in hand.
Okay, no, we're done. Well, that's a real shame. That's like... all we needed was to get mechs that we didn't already have, even if they weren't for class completion. Just like building new mech bodies would have been pretty cool. So, what do we take here? Probably we're taking the 2 Banshee parts and... geez, there aren't even really any good weapons or anything. And this is fine. But we don't need it. Get the Banshees. That AC-10 is really no good. This is 50 stability in a single hit. I don't much like mounting normal PPCs generally. I guess let's take the comm system. That's good backup. This gyro is nothing. Grab that, and we could start working on a Cyclops 10Q to sell. In which case, we probably take that over the missiles. Yeah. Yeah, weirdly, I think that's where we're at. Okay, they gave us the AC anyway. Actually, they gave us, I mean, right, 23. We got almost everything. What a disappointing mission. Especially given how much danger our Annihilator was in. It's like a lot of risk for very, very little reward. How bad is that damage? I didn't actually look at the numbers. I was too worried that we were going to suffer an ammo explosion. One downside to running a lot of ammunition in your mechs, as I tend to like to do, is that ammo bins only explode when crit if they have ammunition left in them. So you can sometimes empty a bin early in the battle and make a location no longer be in quite as much danger of a cascade failure. Let's see here. 6 points. Okay, that's considerably worse. I mean, I'm not opposed to just... and then we don't really care about the arm damage. Is it a one-day repair? I'm not opposed to just sitting here for a day. I'll think about it. I'm not 100% sure if that's what we want to do, or if we want to like take the risk and just keep playing it back, because it still does have, you know, 135 points of armor over each of those. Yeah, I don't know. That's a decision that I will make before tomorrow's episode, because for right now, we are out of time. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time tomorrow when, hopefully, we're going to get a couple more polar missions, and we're going to continue to blow up some very, very large enemies. And we'll see you then.